name is Estrada. I'm a United States Attorney. I'm joined here by Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes, FBI Special Agent in Charge Amir Asai, and numerous representatives from the law enforcement agencies that made this day possible. Stephen Beal murdered his ex-girlfriend in one of the most depraved and despicable ways possible. He blew her up in the business she owned, a salon, using a bomb disguised as a male hacker. In the process, he also severely injured two other people, customers in the salon who were there preparing for a wedding. They will have to live with the trauma from this event the rest of their lives. This murderous act is not only callous, not only cowardly, but incredibly reckless. He endangered the lives of everyone in the building he blew up, which included people and businesses. He endangered a daycare center, which is across the way, which had to be evacuated. Children and teachers evacuated that day. But Mr. Beal did not care. He didn't care about any of it. In fact, he did everything he could to avoid being caught. He lied to investigators. He thought he'd outsmarted the investigators. He thought with his superior expertise in bomb making and rocketry, he could get away with this. But he was sorely mistaken. Because of the intrepid and dogged work of the investigators in this case, Mr. Beal was caught. And I want to commend the work of the investigators in this case who pieced together the debris from this bombing and traced back the components to Mr. Beal to make sure he would serve justice. We have with us the Orange County Fire Authority, the Orange County Sheriff's Department, the FBI, the CHP, the LAPD, all of which work together to make this investigation possible. If not for the hard work of these investigators, Mr. Beal may never have been caught. We owe our gratitude and thanks to the investigators. Today, justice has been served. Mr. Beal will spend the rest of his days in a federal penitentiary. And because there is no parole in the federal system, Mr. Beal will never be able to get out and harm innocent victims again. Make no mistake, this is no more than what Mr. Beal deserves. Now, I know that this sentence of life imprisonment will not bring back the murder victim, Ildiko Krajnyak. I also know that this sentence will not fully heal the trauma suffered by the other victims of this crime. But I do hope that with this sentence, the victims in this case, and all victims in our district understand that we stand with them. It is my hope that this verdict and also this sentence of life imprisonment sends a crystal clear message that we will not tolerate acts of violence. And those who commit such acts of violence and think they're too clever to be caught, look at the example of Mr. Beal. We will catch him. When we do, there will be severe consequences. I'd like to now turn over the microphone to our good partner, Sheriff Don Barnes. Sheriff Don Barnes has been an excellent partner in this case and in many other cases. And again, we thank him and his investigators for the enormous effort and the work they did in this case. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is really absolutely unnecessary that we're here today because the incident that occurred almost 6 years ago should never have occurred. When we look at what Mr. Beal did in 2018, not only taking the life of Ildiko, significantly injuring two others in the process, impacting a community at large that will be forever changed, he did that with blatant disregard for the humanity of others. And I wrote this down because today in the closing arguments, his defense counsel described Mr. Beal as polite, nice, thoughtful, and kind. And I understand that they have a job to do. But polite, nice, thoughtful, and kind also described Ted Bundy. Polite, thoughtful, nice, kind also described Ted Kaczynski the Unabomber. Describing his character today does not negate his actions of yesterday. Today, Mr. Beal will be forever imprisoned, rightfully so. His sentence is life without parole, plus 30 years. But it doesn't change the impacts that he's had on the community, those injured, Ildiko taking her life, her family, that is forever impacted. So we talk about justice and justice being served. Bringing him to justice is the first half of that battle. But justice will never be restored to the lives of those who are forever impacted. And as we go on our lives, our days, we have to always remember those who have been harmed, those who have been victimized, help lean on them, lift them, carry them when necessary, because their lives have been forever changed. I do want to highlight, as Martine said, the partnership that brought this case to justice. In 2018, Aliso Viejo, the contract city with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, our first responders, and our partnership with the Orange County Fire Authority, whom you'll hear a little bit, ran into the danger when most people were seeking shelter. We immediately sought and got the cooperation of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, their evidence recovery team, their investigative elements. And from my vantage point, if you were watching the investigation as it unfolded, you would not know that there were two different organizations investigating this crime. It was one mission, one partnership, a long-standing partnership we've had with the Bureau for many, many years. And I think it was a testament to how well we do things here in Orange County. And I want to thank those, our investigative partners with the FBI. Initially, we did not know whether this would be prosecuted locally in the state of California or adopted for prosecution by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And I'm going to also laud the great, tremendous effort of the prosecutors to bring this case to closure and to justice. Our partnership with the U.S. Attorney's Office is not just in this case, they've adopted other cases as well, and it's a great collaborative effort that we have always used to the greatest extent of the law to hold people accountable. I also want to highlight my team, the Orange County Sheriff's Department. I couldn't be prouder of the response, not just in this incident, but in others that we've had to deal with. We had our field personnel respond immediately, seeking out those injured, clearing buildings. Our hazardous devices squad, our bomb squad, worked in tandem with the FBI's evidence recovery team and the prosecution. If not for that teamwork, not the collaboration that happened, I could not fathom that some of the evidence that was necessary to prove the case might not have been appropriately recovered. Our Joint Terrorism Task Force, the collaboration with the FBI, investigators and sergeants from my department works with the FBI and the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and others that we have that responded that day, our general investigators, our homicide team. Both of our teams worked together to make sure that this case was brought to conclusion the way we realize today. And lastly, I just want to say to the family, my condolences to you for your loss. It brings a little bit of pride that we brought closure, but it's also with tremendous grief that occurred, because as I said, that was not necessary. What's most troubling today in the sentencing hearing, sitting audience, Mr. Beal, still profound, is innocence. I could not think of anything more insulting to the loved ones, the family, the friends of Ildiko, those injured in the community, to have them sit there and protest and go look for the person who really committed this crime. It's an insult to the criminal justice process that he did that. We have the right guy. We had the right guy all along. He got a fair trial. He's held accountable. He will die in prison one day. And if that's the just sentence for him and his actions, for his blatant disregard for those in the community and the family, then I think that brings a certain sense of peace and closure, but never to restore those who have been harmed. I want to thank you for being here today, and I'll turn it over now to FBI, I believe. Here.
Hi, good morning. My name is Amir Asai. I am the Special Agent in charge of counterterrorism for the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office. Just wanted to start by saying the FBI and the Orange County Sheriff's Department work with many partner agencies, most notably the Orange County Fire Authority, where we deployed a variety of forensic and investigative resources for this case. This case was a priority for the Joint Terrorism Task Force. Just to give you a little bit of a sense of the complexity and the resources we used for this investigation. Following the explosion, bomb technicians conducted a post-blast investigation where they had to go specialized teams. It was very grim, it was very arduous, and it took approximately 2 weeks. The work of those specialized teams and then the work of the JTTF investigators, and it continued for another 4 years. I'd like to recognize the FBI Orange County JTTF, the FBI Laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, and then I want to name all the different partners who were involved in this investigation. And the purpose of naming all these partners, it really goes to show what the value of the JTTF is. We're able to pool all of our resources, expertise, manpower to make sure that we have seamless coordination, communication, and collaboration. So with that, let me identify the agencies who were involved in this case. Orange County Sheriff's Department, Santa Ana PD, Irvine Police Department, Newport Beach Police Department, the Orange County Intelligence Assessment Center, Orange County Fire Authority, California Highway Patrol, LAPD, the Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, ATF, NCIS, IRS, HSI, and CBP. All of the agencies were involved in this investigation. I'd also like to recognize the skills and dedication of the prosecution team of the U.S. Attorney's Office. And then lastly, I'd like to thank the public. Following this incident, we received thousands of leads and tips from the public as well as the investigation committed to the in closing, this case really is a good example of our commitment to the pursuit of justice. The extreme hardworking and the persistence in trying to find the truth about that despicable act that happened came to fruition today. The jury spoke. Justice has been done for Ildiko Krajnyak and the 2 surviving victims who have to continue to endure the hard pain of that awful day of May 18th for the rest of their lives. This day is really for them and their families and the Aliso Viejo community as a whole. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take any questions that you all have at this time.
What does the case being a priority with Maine Justice open up for you guys in terms of resources, testing priority? What does that mean for you?
Well, what I'd say is when we have this type of critical incident, when you have a bombing, then there is a full response. I think Sheriff Barnes made the critical point. I think we have fantastic partnerships in this district. The FBI working with the various sheriff's departments, police departments, who respond all as one when we see critical incidents like this, and you see this in this case. This is a full team effort and a full team result.
The judge mentioned this.
Excuse me.
Can you explain the life sentence plus 30 years?
Sure. The judge sentenced this defendant on numerous counts. One of those was a life count. There was also the 30-year count for the use of the law. So the ultimate sentence was life plus 30 years. But as we know, the result of this is what we all want in terms of justice, which is that this defendant will never see the light of day again.
Can you give us your reaction to him saying he, as always, still
I understand that defense attorneys have a job to do, and I understand based on the defendant's behavior during this entire litigation, 2 trials, that he's never going to accept responsibility. But the evidence that was put together by this investigative team is full proof to show he was responsible. The fact that he didn't accept responsibility shows how dangerous he remains, and why it's so important that he has sentenced to life plus 30 years.
Martine, speaking of him maintaining his innocence, but for those who are not in the courtroom, what was the defense's argument?
Oh my God.
In the sentencing or the trial?
In the trial.
In the trial, they tried to say there was some other person who might have bombed this victim and attacked this patient. The reality is, all the evidence pointed to Mr. Beal. The motive for carrying out this action against his ex-girlfriend, who was executive, all the ability to do this with an expert prosecutor, expert lawmaker, and these investigators found that the written pieces of the law that were used and traced them back. No question, clean our minds, he's the person responsible, and he's the person who needed to serve justice.
The judge mentioned the suspicious
Consider
nature.
raising your hand, go ahead.
Thank you. This whole investigation and prosecution was fraught with missteps. You had him free for 10 months. You're saying he was very dangerous. There were innocent people who were at risk, but the first charge was dropped. He was free, then rearrested. Then you had a mistrial. Now you have a conviction. What do you say to the family that this took so long to get the outcome that they wanted?
What I say to the family, and the families here, I thank them for their support. I thank them for their patience. Our justice system can sometimes take time, but you saw the thoroughness of this litigation, the thoroughness of what the attorneys did in this case. The The end result is what matters. And to get an end result that will actually stick. That's what we have here. Next question.
The judge mentioned the suspicious nature of the death of Stephen Beal's wife in 2008. She said that wasn't a factor in her sentence, but has your office looked into that at all?
We know the suspicious circumstances. In our view, in terms of looking at the case and prosecuting this case aggressively, it adds extra fuel to the fact that we needed to bring this individual to justice. However, and this goes to the point before, we need to make sure these cases proceed fully along with due process and that we have convictions that stick. We didn't include that type of evidence in the case to make sure that this conviction will be the strongest possible.
What do you think made the difference in getting a conviction this time?
There are various factors that go into what happens in the trial or not. I think with our second trial, it was streamlined, it was clear, it was more succinct for the jury, and ultimately you got the just verdict. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Luis, a ver si habla español.
The FBI investigators and prosecutors, including the police department, that worked long hours to make sure Mr. Beal is being held accountable for the murder of my cousin and injury to other people. After 5 years of waiting and wondering, our family and friends have peace in knowing that Mr. Beal will spend his remaining days in prison. Ildiko's love and light is shining bright today as Beal receives his punishment. She will live forever in our hearts and never be forgotten.
Could you say your name again?
Eva Krajnyak.
And can you say it in the property?
Sure. Her name is Eva, E-V-A, long name is Eva.
How do you properly say your name?
Ildiko. Ildiko. My name is Eva. Her name is Ildiko Krajnyak. Ildiko Krajnyak.
I was a best friend of Ildiko Krajnyak, and I just wanted to say that I'm very glad that after all this long period of time, thanks to all the due diligence and hard work of the FBI and everybody else that was involved, as was earlier stated, that Mr. Beal was finally brought to justice and is off the streets and can no longer hurt anybody else. I'm grateful to them, and I'm here to stand tall for Ildiko and her family, and just to say that she was a shining light. She was an amazing human being who loved her family and her friends and everybody around, and she'll live on forever. And that's pretty much all I had to say. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great day.